Alright, the day has finally arrived and we are going to do our mechanical broadhead testing video. This is going to be a pretty ultimate test. There are a number of channels and a lot of tests out there doing a number of different things. I'm doing my own thing. I'm keeping it very simple, very straightforward. I'm not shooting them in concrete. For this video specifically, I'm going to break down all 7 of these mechanical broadheads. I'm going to talk about all their features. We're going to shoot them through cardboard and give you the entrance hole so you can see what it looks like going in. And then we're going to shoot it into ballistics gel to see the wound channel and a little bit of penetration. But be reminded, ballistics gel is not a good source to use when you're measuring penetration. Why? Well, ballistics gel is dense. It's a dense material. This is 20% ballistics gel. So it's even more dense than the 10% gel that's out there. It's an 18 by 8 by 8 block made by Clear Ballistics. It came from Clear Ballistics Canada. So it's going to be awesome to see the wound channel, but don't look at the penetration and think, oh, this one's better than this one because of the penetration. Especially with mechanicals, when they're going into a dense surface, they're going to act differently. So we have some broadheads here that will pivot. We have others that are on a locking system or on a ball system. I have another one that's on a spring that will retract and go around dense surfaces. So the blades should open but may start to close again, and that's not to be said that it's a ridiculous broadhead. It's simply doing exactly what it's designed to do by avoiding the dense material. So I don't know how this is going to turn out. I've never done this before. I've wanted to do this for a long time, so we're going to do it together and see how it pans out. So we've got 7 broadheads here on the table, and we're going to start off with the Sevr 1.5 Hybrid. So inside the Sevr box is some replacement O-rings, which is awesome. Sevrs are sold individually. So you can mix and match from their lineup and pick 1 broadhead, 2 broadheads, 10 broadheads, whatever you want. And they come in this little box, this personalized box. These are the Sevr Titanium Hybrid 1.5s. Very awesome. This tip is chiseled and sharp and crazy. Not to mention, as you go farther down, you've got these razor sharp bleeder blades, which are going to do some serious damage. As these side pieces open, and these blades will pop open and lock. Once they are locked, the Sevrs run on a very awesome pivot system. These are not going to close on their own. So as they come into contact with dense surfaces, bone, what have you, they will skirt around by pivoting, therefore increasing more damage on one side or on the other while it gets around whatever surface it's trying to avoid and reset. So that is a very cool feature. They will not close on their own. You have to use, there's a tool that the Sevrs come with to unlock the blades and put them back down, or if you're crafty, you can take a knife and slide it in between. So you basically fold the one blade down, get your knife in between the blade and the other piece here, and that will unlock it, and then you can close it up. But use the tool that they provide. That is the best way to do it, and there you go. Now you're closed, just like that. Another cool feature about the Sevrs, you can put a screw inside the head here, which will lock the blades closed, and that is your practice head. So you can practice with the actual broadhead that you are going to use, which is awesome. Some of these you can't do that with. Some come with a practice head that mimics the aerodynamics of the real head. With the Sevrs, you are actually shooting and practicing with the broadhead that you are going to be using in the field. Now, keep in mind, doesn't matter what broadhead you're using, if you start shooting through foam a few times, these are going to lose their sharpness. So you may have to touch them up before going back out, Or if you're ordering a few, say you're ordering 5 or 6 or 4 or whatever, just take one of them and say, you are now my practice head. That's just the way it's going to be. You can use them, whatever, do whatever you want, resharpen them, but you can also take one, dedicate that as your practice head, and save the others for when you're hunting. Another feature that you may see on these is there is a little indent on the blade. That is not a damaged blade. That is designed so that when it is in the closed position, the rubber band can go right back over top and it's not going to get cut by the blade itself when it's in the closed position. So the Sevrs are made of titanium, and the bleeder blades are 0.7 inches thick when all 4 blades are open. So the 2 main blades plus the bleeders, you're looking at a 2.2 inch total cut, which is awesome, devastating. Again, I said the chisel tip is very sharp on the edge, as are the blades right out of the box, which is what you want. You can't ask for anything better than that. So Sevr is a direct-to-consumer company. You cannot buy these in the store. You have to order them directly from Sevr. And again, like I said, you can buy 1, you can buy 3, you can buy 2, you can buy 8, however many you want. You can choose as you go and mix and match. You can even go in between their lineup. You could get the Hybrid 1.5, you could get the 2.0, you could get 175. You can totally mix and match and make your setup the way that you want, which is pretty cool. Another thing is that when these blades are locked in the open position and they do have to pivot, if one side pivots or the other side pivots, it's creating an even longer, wider cutting surface than what it is at the regular position. So you're getting maximum penetration as it's avoiding objects inside or diverting itself inside the animal, which is really, really cool, a really awesome idea. I can't wait to get these out and try them out this year. Reminder, if you do use this as a practice head and you do have the screw in there, make sure you take that out before you go out in the field hunting, because it will not open, obviously, if the screw is still in the broadhead. So again, the Sevrs are a rear deploying mechanical broadhead, and they come in 100 grains and 125 grains. So that is the Sevr Hybrid 1.5. Next, we're going to talk about the SWHACKERs. These are the Hank Parker Signature Series. So SWHACKER numbers a lot of their heads, and this comes with a nice case. It comes with 3 broadheads, comes with some extra rubber bands, it comes with a miniature screwdriver, which is cool, and it comes with these green hunt ready plugs. The plugs will go through the hole here, and you can trim off the thinner portion and it locks the blades closed. For this, we've got a rubber band. These side wings here are sharp. This is also razor sharp, this tip. And as the, it's hard to do this with these being so sharp, as the broadhead enters the animal, the blades will obviously fold down, therefore cutting the rubber band. So I'll see if I can just get this off here. So what happens is, obviously broadhead enters the animal, hits these 2 sharpened points, which will then fold down, exposing the 2 side blades and making this disastrous cut, which is pretty crazy. Looks kind of like an airplane. It's awesome. So those are pretty devastating. So these are the SWHACKER number 282s. They're 125 grains. They open up to a 2.25 inch cut when the blades are fully deployed. So the blades are a 0.031 inch stainless steel. So it's 2.15 inches from the tip to the insert, and the ferrule is made of aircraft grade aluminum, which is usually a 70-75 aluminum, which is still aluminum but stronger than regular aluminum because it's the aircraft grade stuff, so it's supposed to be pretty strong. So it's a hardened high carbon steel hollow ground point for the chisel tip at the top here. The package contains 3 broadheads, 6 replacement bands, and a reusable case. The case is a very good idea. I don't know why more broadhead companies are not providing a case. Something simple like this, just a plastic case that keeps them protected, locks them up, keeps them away from everything else. So that you can rest assured they're not going to come open and cut things up. And then you know that there's just that little added bit of safety. So the Sevrs have their little display box. The SWHACKERs have their replacement case. Everything else on here is on its own in the package. So the next broadhead we're talking about are the ever popular Beast Broadheads. These were created by Josh and Sarah Bomar. Beast stands for the Bone Evading Advanced Spring Technology. Just going off the package here, it's a patented bone avoiding technology. So there are springs in here that will flex and go around bone and other dense surfaces and then redeploy, extending themselves to their full 2.3 inch cut for these. These are the 2.3 inch cut. They also come in a 2 inch cut. And these are the 125 grain. I believe the 100 grains are the 2 inch cut. There's no bands, there's no collars. These simply click into place and then spring open. And it says that they come out at a whopping 940 miles per hour. That's how the blades deploy. It comes with 2 heads and 1 practice head, which is really making people upset because of the price point on these. These are the most expensive head on the table. For Canadians, this comes in at about $84. So $84 for 2 heads. Now they say that you can reuse these multiple times on multiple animals, and before you actually even need to resharpen them, so that they are durable enough that it's not a one and done type of deal like you'll get with other broadheads. These are very strong, very well made, and will be something that you can continue to use over and over and over and over again. So they have a blade retention system that locks the blades into place. There's 3 ways to do that. They come with the Kevlar gloves that go on your index finger and your thumb, and that way you can pinch the broadhead closed. You can also grab the blades of the broadhead on the sides, not on the top where it's sharp, but on the sides, and then just bring them down. Or there's a little notch on. So as you're looking at the blade of the curved blade of the broadhead, at the very end as it falls off, those tips at the very, very bottom are not sharp. So you could grab those and pinch them shut. So there's different ways to do this. So there you go. This really reminds me of a beetle every time I look at it. I don't know why. The point here is extremely sharp. So if you just get your nail under there, you can deploy the blades like that. And check that out. Those are wicked. So these are Lutz blades that are made in Germany. The springs themselves that deploy on the inside here are made by Lamborghini. So these are the same springs that are put in sports cars. So it's pretty crazy. So like I said, you can grab the sides. See, I didn't cut myself. Just the side piece right at the very, very side that slides down. You can grab those, or you can also grab the ends like this. Not like this, but like this, and bring them together like that, or you can use the gloves. So that's really cool. The tip here, the part of the blades that starts the deployment, those are not sharp. So some of these are sharp, these are not sharp here, but everything else is. So be very careful when you're using these. They've got some divots inside of the ferrule here to help with their aerodynamics. And the chisel tip again is ridiculously sharp and beveled kind of as well, so that you get really good arrow flight. So that is wicked. Looking forward to trying these as well. So the blades are a 0.35 inch German Lutz blade. And the ferrule is again aircraft grade aluminum, as was the SWHACKER. 7075 aircraft grade aluminum. The trick with these, what makes them so popular aside from their razor sharp German blades and the springs that deploy so quickly, is the fact that when this broadhead comes in contact with bone or with other dense objects, the blades will flex and then return to their normal position. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the ballistics gel, if it will stay open or if it'll start to close with the ballistics gel being dense. But hopefully it stays open. But that's how they avoid bone or go through bone, or if they can't go through a thicker bone, they will retract and then redeploy on their own, which is what they're designed to do, which is a very cool feature. Again, they come in 100 grains, 125. The 100 grain is 2-inch cut, the 125 is 2.3-inch cut. This is the 125, so we're getting a 2.3-inch overall cut. So the broadhead has stainless steel locking components that will keep the noise down. And again, these springs are made in the UK in the same factory as Lamborghini and Ferrari's springs that are used on the sports cars. And again, these have a band-free, collar-free system. The blades, the springs do all the work, locking everything and deploying everything. You don't need any bands and no collars to keep the blades in. They will just do their thing with the springs and then move if they have to, and then can get closed on their own. So this is looking to be a very popular, well, already is a very popular broadhead this year for 2024. So it'll be interesting to see what all the results are that people get. Josh and Sarah Bomar have done a lot of testing themselves. They went to Africa and shot a number of animals with these broadheads, and they've got videos on their YouTube page, on their Bomar Bow Hunting and Bomar Archery YouTube page. You can see the animals that he has shot with these. They've gone through elephants, giraffe. Like, I think he got a complete pass through on a giraffe. It's pretty insane what testing these heads have gone through. So it's going to be very interesting to see everyone's results come the end of the season. Next, we have the Crimson Talon Battleaxe. Now this one does not have a package because I already owned this prior to this video. I shot a bear with this a couple years ago, and it was absolutely incredible. Goes in like a pinhole, comes out like an explosion on the other end. It has this massive head on the front, this fixed head that is razor sharp, that does a lot of cutting damage right off the bat. So I know a lot of people are worried about using mechanicals because they're afraid they won't open. That seems to be more of an event that happened years previous. A lot of the ones that are coming out now are very good and very well tested and very well constructed. So, but with this kind of a hybrid system, you've got this massive blade on the top, which is going to do a lot of damage. The side blades here are sharp as well. Or I believe they're single bevels, and then as this opens up, you get the full 2-inch cut there with these talons that open up. So it's a pretty devastating head, and animals do not go far when they're shot with this, provided they're shot in the right place. So this is a 7/8 inch blade tip, and then a 2-inch with these, so you're getting a 2 7/8 inch cut overall. The ferrule is 75 grade aircraft grade aluminum, and the blades are stainless steel, and they come in 125 grains. So the blade thickness on these talons that come out is 0.32 inches thick. They do come 3 in a pack, and it does say on the package the actual weight is 131 grains. Advertises 125, but on the website it says, and I believe it's on the package as well, that the actual weight is 131. Next, we're going to talk about the T2 from G5 Outdoors. G5 is a very popular company in the outdoor space. They make very good products. The Grace family has been doing this for a very long time. For this particular broadhead, they've come together with John Dudley from Knock On, and they've created this mechanical called the T2. Simple, silent, and secure, first of its kind socket lock retention system. So the way that this one works, just get it out of the package here. They come with a cool wrench system to get your broadheads unscrewed so you don't mess up your fingers. So again, with this one, as with the Beast, no bands, no collars. They simply lock into position. So the way this works, it's got a very sharp tip, chisel tip point to it. These two pieces will get pushed as it enters the hide of the animal, resulting in the blades opening. And as you can see, there's a little tiny space for for both blades to come down and lock in place, creating that locking system so it stays open as it's going through. So then to reset, you can see that little hole, not hole, but that little tiny spot at the top there. That's what's going into the pivot, or not pivot, that's what's going into the locking system. And you can hear it engage. Clicks into place. Now they're locked open. And then to close, you're just going to unlock them, slide them up, and push them in, and they click and stay shut. Just like that. Now there was a significant amount of testing done with these heads as well. John Dudley and a number of the guys from G5 came together and did some hunting together, and they got some pretty incredible results. So this is going to be another head that is one to watch out for this year, as it is brand new for 2024, and it'll be interesting to see what results people get while using the G5 T2. So these blades come in 100 and 125 grains, and again I said no collars and no bands. They do have a socket lock retention system, so as they open they lock in place, keeping them exactly where they need to be as they're going through the animal. Now this is also going to, as you put them back into place, they click into place so that you won't have pre-deployment. So this is a rear deployment mechanical and is made of 100% steel. Next up we have another one from G5. This is the Deadmeat V2. This needs no introduction. This blade has been around for a while and is absolutely devastating. So the Deadmeat V2 has been around for a while, and from what I've seen of other people reviewing it, these are pretty devastating. This is the 125 grain, all steel construction, 3-blade mechanical. It's got this blue collar that the blades lock into, and then when they deploy and extend out to their full cutting diameter, they make a devastating hole. As before with the other ones, they come with the G5 wrench to help get your broadheads on and off should you need it. So these blades come in 100 and 125 grain. These are the 125s. And like I said, they come with these blue collars that the blades lock into. They do come razor sharp right out of the box. And they are quite small compared to a lot of the other ones, but don't let that fool you, because the damage that these make, as I'm sure we're going to see in the ballistics gel, is crazy. So here's how they open. They pop out of the collar, and there you have it. And again, just like the others, it's got a nice chisel tip on the top. So it has the snap lock blade retention system, so it's got these little points at the bottom here that are little clasps, and what happens is as you go to put them away, you just pull them up and they clip onto the collar, just like that. They're 100% made of steel, and these are actually replaceable blades, so you could, if you needed to, take them off and completely replace them with a new blade. So this creates a 1.5 inch cutting diameter, and again, they are steel blades. They claim to have no pre-deployment with this collar system. and they come with what's called a BMP practice tip, which if you look at it, looks very similar to the Broadhead itself minus the blades. So they've designed this other piece which you can shoot as a practice tip that weighs and is the same design as the actual Broadhead, so that you get accurate field point to Broadhead comparison when you're practicing. Last and certainly not least, we've got the Grim Reaper Pro Series Whitetail Special. This is a 2-inch cutting mechanical broadhead. It says 3-inch total cut. So this comes 4 in a package. And like the other ones here on the table, it has a very sharp chisel tip on the top. These are definitely the largest ones. It'll be interesting to see how well these fly compared to the field points. It's got this very sharp chisel tip on the top, and then these 3 blades that open up, come down and lock in place, and create this devastating massacre of, I can only imagine what these would do inside of an animal. So I have never used these. They are fairly sharp. Again, not super razor sharp. They could use a touch-up. These come highly recommended by some friends of mine who have used them and love them. When you bring the blades back up, they click back in place. No collars, no bands, nothing. So these are 100 grains, 1-piece stainless steel tip, make a 2-inch cut. There's not much to it. That's what you're getting. They look pretty devastating. The hole that they make, if these all deploy, would be pretty devastating. So, and they click it back into place. So these fold down. And then when they go back up, and they stay in place. So next we're going to set up the ballistics gel. I'm going to shoot these through the gel one at a time. They'll go in through 2 or 3 layers of cardboard. We'll get a look at the entrance hole. We'll see the devastation through the gel, and hopefully they all open, and hopefully they give us a bit of a show. Alright, so for weight on the Sevr Titanium Hybrid 1.5, we are looking at 125.6 on an advertised 125. The SWHACKER, we're looking at 123.1 grains, advertised 125. For the Beast Broadheads, we're looking at 123.3 grains, advertised 125. So for the 125 grain Crimson Talon Battleaxe, we're looking at 132.4 grains. So for weight on the G5 T2s, 125 grain, we're looking at 125.9 grains, advertised 125. The Deadmeat V2 125 grain, we are looking at a weight of 124.1 of an advertised 125. Grim Reaper Whitetail Specials, advertised 100 grains. And woof, these are 106.8 grains. Wow, that's a lot. And now comes for the fun part everybody is waiting for. We're going to shoot these 7 broadheads into the ballistics gel. I'm going to be using my Elite Ethos 75 pounds 30-inch draw. I'm going to shoot 4 into this ballistics gel. We'll take a look at each one. We'll see the entrance hole through the cardboard. I've got 3 layers of cardboard here to help the mechanicals open on impact, and we'll go from there. So first one, starting off, is the Sevr Hybrid 1.5. So here is the entrance hole. You see where the bleeders went in and the blade started to open. And then here is your wound channel. And there's the broadhead fully deployed, but you can see it's starting to pivot. And that's due to the density of the gel, as we talked about before. But that is wicked. So that is the Sevr Hybrid 1.5. You can see blades were fully opened on impact into the gel, and then just continued straight away through, and are just starting to pivot here. Wicked. So next up is the SWHACKER Hank Parker Signature Series. Here's your entrance hole. And as you can see from the gel, it didn't open right away. It took a second to open up, and then as soon as they were open, boom. Did a pretty sick job. So that is the SWHACKER. Took a second to open up as it came in, and then as soon as it was open, massive wound channel. Next broadhead is going to be the Beast broadhead from the Bomars. This one is highly anticipated for 2024, so we'll see how it does. We're going to be shooting it at the top here, so you should be able to see it at the front. Those first two you couldn't really see from that side due to the density of the gel. I should have put the camera over here, but I won't make that mistake for the next batch. So we're going to go top for the Beast. Alright, so here is your entrance hole. See, the blade started to open, and then there's your wound channel right through. It's hard to see here. So you can see the blade started to close again, just like we talked about. The density of the foam is causing them to close because it thinks it's trying to get around something. So you can see they opened up on entrance, started to make channel, and then started to close because of how dense this foam is. Next is going to be the Talon Battleaxe. Talon Battleaxe. Entrance hole. You can see that massive head making an impact. And if we come in here, It's hard to see with some of these lines on here, but you can see that they opened a bit. There we go. Yeah, I don't know if this, like I said previously, this gel, it's great, it's cool to see this, but the mechanicals aren't necessarily opening or staying open how they would if this was an actual animal itself. So, but it's still cool to see. There's the wound channel for the Crimson Talon. Next up is going to be the G5 T2. There's a hole, you can see the blades started to open on the entrance into the cardboard. And here is the wound channel for the T2. That's pretty awesome. Those blades are locked open. Pretty devastating. Alright, next up is going to be, I have more room on here than I thought. Next up is going to be the G5 Deadmeat V2. Alright, entrance hole for the G5 Deadmeat V2. You can see those three blades. So the blades opened up right away, fully deployed, thick wound channel. Definitely have reached farther in the gel than everything else, but like we said before, this is not a true indication of penetration, but definitely devastating. And last but certainly not least is the Grim Reaper Whitetail Special. Entrance hole for the Grim Reaper. Those three blades came in and opened up right away and gave a massive channel and are fully deployed. That is devastating. So we got the Deadmeat, we got the Sevr, we got the T2, Crimson Talon, the Grim Reaper Whitetail Special. We got the SWHACKER at the bottom, and then in there we've got the Beast Broadhead, which I know a lot of you are probably thinking, oh, it didn't open. Well, it's doing exactly what it's designed to do, which is close to go around dense objects, and that's exactly what it's doing. Because this is super dense foam, it's doing exactly what it was designed to do, which is avoid and maneuver around dense objects. It's kind of difficult to see with some of these lines. This is how it was, just how it came out of the mold, so I'm trying to get the best angles here for you. Pretty cool nonetheless. On this side we've got the Sevr. You can see its blades are starting to pivot because it thinks that it's in a dense area, so it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Underneath that, in the middle there, we've got the T2. And then this is the Grim Reaper Whitetail Special, just making an absolute devastation of this gel. And then underneath that is the SWHACKER. So if you look behind that screw, you can see that the blades didn't start to deploy until it had already entered into the gel, which is fine because that's what it's supposed to do. They're supposed to flip open. They're going to take a minute to get there. And then once they flipped open, they were fully deployed and continued all the way through to there. All right, we're out here for the final phase of this video, which is going to be shooting these broadheads with field points. Down there I have my 3D deer target, which is literally falling apart because it's been shot so many times with broadheads, so hopefully it'll stay together. We are losing light, so we're going to try and make this as quick as possible but as accurate as possible. The arrow that we're using for this is, again, the Easton 6.5 millimeter. I'm going to be hunting with these arrows. It's a standard diameter arrow. It's fantastic. I will be shooting the broadheads through my 2024 Elite Ethos 75 pounds 30-inch draw. So we're out here at 50 yards. I think 50 is a good midway point. Some people shoot from 20 to 40. That's me. Other people shoot 40 and above. So I went with 50 yards as like a happy medium. Take it or leave it. That's what we're doing. We're going to start with the Sevr Hybrid 1.5 and then the field point to go along with it. So here we go, 50 yards with the Sevr Titanium Hybrid 1.5. So here we go, 50 yards with the Sevr Hybrid 1.5, Sevr on the top, field point on the bottom. Alright, next up is going to be a 125 grain SWHACKER Hank Parker Signature Series number 282 at 50 yards. That was a great shot. Now the 125 grain field point. All right, well, that's amazing. Well, that was pretty incredible. Now we're moving on to the Beast. Great results from the first two. Let's see how we do with the Beast broadhead. 125 grain, 50 yards. And next, the 125 grain field point. Amazing. Okay, so the Beast broadhead and the 125 grain point side by side. Now, for those of you who are wondering, yes, it did open. It had trouble in the gel because of how dense it was, but in real world situations, it opens. That is 3 for 3 as far as I'm concerned. I would be confident with any of those first 3 so far. Now we are on to the Crimson Talon Battleaxe. 125 grain, actual weight 131. Remember to weigh your broadheads, check your weights. That is a straight up warhead. Alright, so this is a bit upsetting. I have shot these before. I have hunted with these before and haven't had a problem. This for some reason keeps deviating to the right. Now, I did shoot this a couple of times just to make sure it wasn't me, and I kept getting the same result. As you can see, there's a hole up in the neck of the deer. That's from this one as well. So these are tracking right at 50 yards. I have shot them at closer distances and didn't have a problem, but it looks like the farther back we go, the more deviation we're getting, which is upsetting. But I wouldn't be who I am if I wasn't reporting exactly what I'm finding, so that's what I'm finding. Make sure you test your broadheads before you hunt with them. I will say this though, I do like every time I've shot this Battleaxe, the rubber band has rolled down the shaft instead of breaking, which is a nice feature. That was a little upsetting. I never like reporting stuff like that, but if that's what I find, then that's what I find. That's my experience. Like I said, I have shot these at a closer distance and haven't had a problem, but looks like out to 50 they are tracking right. I'm not about to lose my integrity to tell you that every single one of these is awesome. Everyone has its breaking point. Anyway, next up, G5 T2. 125 grain, 50 yards. All right, so we've got the T2 at the bottom and the field point just above it. Next up is the Deadmeat V2. Again, nothing wrong with that shot. It was a little low, that could have been me. You gotta remember, I'm not shooting these out of a hooter shooter. There's no shooting machine here, this is me. So if it's a touch high, a touch low, that could very well be my deviation. But at the end of the day, the groupings we've had, minus the Crimson Talon, unfortunately, are anything I would be confident with going hunting with. So next up is the Deadmeat V2, 50 yards. It soars. Holy cow. Dead meat. Dead center. Next up is the 125 grain field point. Let's see if I can match this shot. Yep. Side by side. Here we go, 50 yards with the Deadmeat V2 and the 125 grain field point. Pretty good. Absolutely outstanding. As I anticipated, it would be. Deadmeat has been around for a while and has been performing for years. Last but certainly not least is the Grim Reaper Whitetail Special 120, actually nope, 100 grain. So the field point may hit a little low. If this hits a little high, it could be due to the weight being off by 25 grains, but we'll see how it goes. 100 grain Grim Reaper Whitetail Special, 50 yards. There you have it. The Whitetail Special and the 125 grain point. So that's pretty awesome stuff. Doing tests like this is always pretty incredible. Again, there's no clear winner here, in my opinion. All of these broadheads will kill animals if provided you are putting them in the right shot placement. You can't go wrong with any one of these from any of these companies. It's very cool to see. Now, granted, it was a little bit more clear on this side, so I apologize for that. The gel has a little bit of rippling in it at certain points, which can make it a little bit difficult to see, but either way, it was very cool to have this here to show you what the wound channel is like on these broadheads, so that you can have an idea roughly, because it's not going to be 100%, what it may be doing inside the animal that you are choosing to shoot it through. So and I think I'm probably going to have to cut those out.